It's been a busy month with my knitting and crochet projects, and I can't wait to show you what I've been working on. From new designs to relaxing knits, I've been working away, so whether you're here for inspiration or just to see what your fellow maker has been up to, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Emma. Welcome to Wander and Create with Emma, where we dive into all things knitting, crochet, with the occasional travel and other yarn-based activities. This is my monthly vlog episode where I catch you up on all the things that I've been working on in knitting and crochet, as well as sharing any other things I've been up to that I think might be of interest to you. Regular viewers may notice that my appearance has changed a little bit. I've had a significant change to my hair. I must have chopped about this much off. We've gone from kind of here, you can't even see, to like here to here. I only got it cut a few days ago, and I must admit I'm still getting used to this length and like learning how to style it with my kind of wavy-ish hair that I have. Today I think is a fairly good day. We'll see, I'm getting used to it, so let me know what you think of it. Anyway, today I'm going to show you my finished objects, works in progress, and then give you a couple of other things that have been catching my attention this last month. So grab yourself a drink, grab your project, and let's get into it. Oh, and also don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss further videos from me. Actually, just one other thing that I want to warn you about before we get into this. There's still construction work going on near my building, so if you hear any drilling or banging, that's what it is. Hopefully it's not going to be too disruptive. This is the only time I have to record. So hopefully it's not going to be too awful. And I do also have neighbours at home, so you may hear some stomping up and down as well. I'm going to hope it stays quiet while I record this, but just so you know, if you hear any background noise, I'm really sorry. Okay, so starting with finished objects, the first one I wanted to talk about is this Sophie Hood. And to do that, we're going to travel back in time to a time where I still had long hair, and I had just finished the Sophie Hood. This is pre-blocking the Sophie Hood. This is the medium size, so wrapped around, I don't know if I'm styling it right. It's kind of, I don't know, I feel like I want it to be here because it just feels like it's going to slip off my head. But let's see what happens after I wash and block it. This is the length. So it's quite long. It's quite long. Let's see what happens when I wash and block it. Okay, so after a wash and a block, this hood is much more relaxed. It feels like it fits my head better. And I'm still working out how to style it. I think I was looking at the images on the pattern, and I think for the medium one, it's like this, which is cute. And I kind of love it, but also feel like I look like my gran, which is not a bad thing, but I'm like, do I look 80 or does it look cool? I'm not totally sure yet. But yeah, I think this is the way to style the medium, because if you try and wrap it all the way around, it's a bit much. Too much hair. But I would say if I have my hair up in any way, like even just half up, half down, the hood then does only come to like here, and it just doesn't feel like it's on as much as it should be. I've got too much hair. This isn't showing you properly. Anyway, I do like it. I'm gonna wear it regardless. What do you think? So yeah, what I really liked about the Sophie Hood was just how easy it was to knit once I got into the construction method, the row repeats and the increased stitches. It was just so addictive to knit because it was so kind of straightforward. You know, it's garter stitch, so all you're doing is knitting stitches, slipping them for the I-cord edging, but yeah, it was really lovely. And yeah, now it's washed and blocked. Really happy with it. Unfortunately, now it has started to get warmer. Not unfortunately, but you know what I mean. It means that I can't really wear this because it's a little too warm. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'll be looking forward to wearing it a bit more next winter. And actually, now that my hair is cut, I think I might prefer the look of it a bit more, because I was getting a bit frustrated if I had my hair down when it was long. When I was kind of wrapping the hood, my hair was kind of sticking out and all over the place. But if I keep it short over this next year, I won't have to worry about that too much. But yeah, I think it's cute and I like this colour. Wouldn't normally go for pastels, but I do really like this one. So yeah, that's my Sophie Hood. And you can see this year I'm trying to make more of an effort to keep my Ravelry projects updated. And so I have updated my Sophie Hood, so you can check that out from my Ravelry page. See all the needles and the yarn that I used and my experience knitting the pattern there. And I'll have the links to that in the description below. Okay, the other finished objects I have are my Sabrina socks. So these are the new sock design created by me. I have mentioned them and showed them in a video before, probably my last vlog episode, but they are now in testing. So the first sample I made were these white versions with the red contrast colour heart motif. And these, as I mentioned before, are inspired by the go-go boots that Sabrina Carpenter has been wearing on her tour. I've kind of made a sock version of those boots, I guess. And then I've made this sample in another colourway, so this kind of mocha latte colour. Because it's slightly customizable, I made the calf a bit longer. And I do have the second sock of this complete, it's just on the block at the moment. But really happy with them. I won't talk too much about them now because they are in testing, but they are made with a fingering weight yarn. Cascade Heritage solid sock yarn is what I used, with 2.25mm needles, which I think is a US 1. And I used the short 9-inch circular needles for this, but you could use magic loop. That would probably still work if that's your preferred method. It might be more tricky for the motif bit, but once this pattern is ready for release in about a month's time, I have prepared a video that talks more about the design process, like a behind the scenes, as well as giving some tutorials for certain parts of the sock design, and just generally lots more talk about the customization options, the sizing, etc, etc. So you can look out for that in about a month's time. But yeah, very happy with these. Really cute. Once you've got over the heart motif, it's a very simple pattern to make, and I think just really, really cute. Oh, I should also say they will make a great stash busting project. You know, this year for me is all about getting through my yarn stash, and because the heart motif uses barely any yarn, not even 3 grams, barely that per sock, really barely 3 grams per sock. You really don't need much yarn for it, so if you have any tiny balls of yarn left over from other projects, these are perfect. So they're my 2 finished objects. We'll now move into the works in progress. So one of my works in progress was a slightly unplanned cast on. I had actually planned, and I think mentioned in my last vlog episode, that one of the projects that I really wanted to cast on next was going to be the Stella quilt cushion. After knitting the Stella quilt blanket, I wanted to make a cushion version. So my intention had been to start that. However, when I was going through my tub of yarn, I remembered that I had the kit to make the Tiny Dots shawl by Amanda Kafka. Now this is a kit that I won from the XOXO Fibre Festival in North Vancouver, kind of in the fall last year. It was a door raffle prize, and part of the prize was a kit to make the Tiny Dot shawl, so it came with the yarn, including a sequin yarn, and the pattern. And so yeah, I was going through my tub, I found the kit, and it just changed my direction of my plans, and I wanted to cast that on straight away. So here this is, and I cast this on maybe just over a week ago. It's kind of hard to see because it's kind of scrunched on the needles, but it's worked kind of top down. And so you can see it has these tiny dots here in the contrast, the darker contrast colour. And the contrast colour I'm pairing with the sequin yarn that it came with. So it has a hint of sequin, a hint of glam through the shawl. It's been a really nice pattern to fall through. It's fairly straightforward, but I will say these tiny dots they're not hard, but because they're kind of every 3 stitches when you're doing that row, they are a bit fiddly. and time consuming. So as this is growing bigger and you're doing more dots, you do get, I will admit, I get a bit bored of that, but it's obviously worth it for the end look because it adds a really cute little detail to the shawl. And you actually only have 4 rows of those tiny dots once the pattern's finished. So I've done 3 already. So I just have 1 more row to go soon. So I'm actually quite nearly finished this shawl, and I'll be looking forward to getting it off the needles to stretch it out to its full size. The yarn that I'm using is it's Estelle yarns for both of them. So this kind of main colour, kind of grey, maybe denim-y blue colour, is a silk wool cotton blend. The colourway is indigo. And then the contrast colour is llama, like baby llama air is what it's called. It's kind of a very dark navy blue. And then paired it with the sequin yarn that it came with. Yeah, I've been enjoying this as a bit of a switch up from the Sophie Hood and the socks, which are fairly straightforward knitting wise. This has added slightly more, not challenging, but it's not just kind of garter stitch or knitting stockinette stitch in the round. There's a bit more to it, like with these kind of fan elements, obviously the tiny dots that I've mentioned, increases, etc. There's a little bit more going on, so I have enjoyed that aspect. It's working up quite quickly. Like I say, I cast it on just over a week ago, and although I haven't worked on it for a couple of days, I am near the end, so I think maybe depending on the time I have this week and how much knitting I end up doing on this particular project, I could finish it in the next week, definitely in the next 2 weeks, I think, for sure. And yeah, the yarn itself, obviously the llama one is very soft, but I really like this silk cotton wool blend. I've not used a yarn of those like 3 blends before, but it feels really nice. It's very light. I think it'll be a good kind of shawl material. And yeah, I think it's going to be good enough for the kind of transition season with spring on a cool summer evening. I think it'll be nice as well. So yeah, looking forward to getting this one finished. And this is also one that I've added to my Ravelry projects page in an attempt, as I mentioned, to keep more up to date with that, so you can see more details and find a link to the pattern there as well. And my final work in progress, and it's a very new work in progress, is a new scrappy version of the Hornby sweater vest. Now again, the Hornby sweater vest is a pattern that I designed and released last year. It's made of worsted weight wool, like body length sweater vests. I think I mentioned, if you've seen my kind of yarn stash dive I did at the beginning of 2025, I mentioned that I had an idea of one way to use up quite a lot of the worsted weight yarn that I had was to make a kind of scrappy version of the Hornby vest. And so just last night I cast that on. So this is as far as I've got. I've done 4 rows or 4 rounds. And I wanted to cast it on now because I felt like I've been doing a lot of knitting recently, like the Sophie Hood. I did the woven shawl. Obviously I've been designing the socks, and there was something else I had been doing, and it was all knitting. So I wanted to switch it up. I felt like I've been neglecting crochet, and I knew this project had been on my mind. And again, because it's a kind of thicker weight yarn, maybe it's a good project to do now, and maybe I'd still be able to wear it throughout the spring. So yeah, I went through, I had already selected my colours and found like the worsted weight yarns I had and grouped them together, picked out my colours. So now I'm just working away at it. And this pattern was originally designed by me for the vest to have around 4 inches, 10 centimetres of positive ease. But I think for this version, because the original pattern, it takes the vest down to like your length of just, so it would sit, sorry, I am mixing my words. The original pattern design, the measurements for the vest would take it to sit just above your hips at the bottom of the body length. But I would like to make a cropped version because I have a couple of kind of oversized flowy dresses that I'm thinking I'd quite like to wear the sweater vest over the top of, and I would like it to be a bit smaller in ease so that it kind of brings in the dresses a little bit at the top to, like, I don't know, this is just an image that I have in my mind of how I want to wear it. So what I'm going to do is pick a different size to reduce the ease. And actually the sample, when I designed it for myself, I knit sample 3 because that would give me the 4 inches positive ease that I'd written it for. Now I'm actually going to knit sample size 2 because the final chest circumference of the piece for size 2 is 38 inches, which is what my actual chest circumference measurement is. So that means that my final piece should have 0 negative ease, which is kind of what I'm after, I think. So yeah, I've cast on to make size 2. And yeah, as I said, I've only done 4 rounds so far. And in those 4 rounds, I have used 2 different colours. And with this, I had initially had in mind that I was going to just be completely free with it, just tie on new bits of yarn as I was going, changing colour as and when I felt like it, kind of embracing that, the designer, is it Larkenbagger? I'm really not sure if that's how you pronounce her name, but she has that style of just using all your leftover yarn, tying it, knotting it together as you go, and just go for it and enjoy it. So that was how I initially went into this project, thinking that's how I wanted to play it. But for some reason last night, I changed my mind and went for stripey, to do like solid rounds of stripes instead of a kind of alternating at any random point change. I'm not sure why I did that. Maybe I chickened out of it and went for neatness over chaos. I don't know. But so yeah, so that's what I've done. So I've done 2 rounds of this lilac, 2 rounds of this pink. So now I just need to choose what colour I'm going to add next and do 2 rounds of that. I have realised the risk with doing this way is that if I do run out of yarn and I'm not able to complete 2 rounds, I'm going to hit a bit of a wall there. So I may have committed to something that I can't continue, but we will deal with that if it happens. I'm hoping because most of the worsted weight balls I have that I've selected for this project are reasonably sized, that won't happen, especially because I'm making a cropped version, so it's going to be much shorter than the original one. So I won't use too much leftover yarn, but we'll see. It is a bit of a risk, but I'm just going to go with it and adapt as it happens. So who knows? I'm hoping I like the colour combinations. I know it's going to be a fun piece, but already I'm feeling like these colours are quite spring-like and bright compared to some other knits that I've been working on. It's going to be very colourful. So yeah, I'm kind of enjoying it, enjoying doing some crochet again. And I'll obviously keep you updated with how I'm going with it. But yeah, I think this is my first proper stash busting leftover yarn scrappy project that I'm doing since I started on this journey just in January this year. That's all I have been working on this last month. I feel like it's been fairly productive, even if it's only been 4 things to show you. I think that's quite a lot of work over the last month. And I'd love to see how far I get in a month's time when I do my next vlog update. So before I go, there's just a couple of other things I wanted to share with you. And one was a book that I've been taking a look at. It's a book that I got gifted for Christmas, but I've only really got around to looking at it now, just in the end of February, beginning of March. And that is The Knitting Bag of Tricks by Patty Lyons, or Lyons? So it has 70 sanity-saving hacks for better knitting. And I've seen Patty on social media kind of sharing stuff, and I'd seen this book recommended a lot. And I must say, as I've been flicking through it, it has been really helpful just showing you the different ways and explaining, more importantly, like making increases and decreased stitches, why they sit a certain way, how to do cast-ons and different cast-on methods to give different looks. They might be all things that we've kind of done before, but I think it's been interesting for me to have the proper explanation. I think it's really useful. Even, I've been knitting for many years now, but I'm finding it quite a useful explainer of why we do some of the things that we do. And I think it would be great for beginner knitters as well. So yeah, highly recommend this book if you're looking to just learn more. I think it's useful for anybody, no matter what stage of knitting years of experience you've got. I think there's something here for everybody to learn. So I really recommend that. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention, which is probably more relevant for any Canadian viewers or general North American viewers that might be coming to Canada this year, this week on my website I posted a new blog post where I have rounded up all the Fibre festivals happening across Canada in 2025. I say all the Fibre festivals, they're the ones that I have been able to find, and I was researching through, obviously Googling, looking at particular like yarn vendors sites that I knew of. There's a Facebook group for Canadian Fibre events I looked through. So everything that is listed on my website in that blog post is what I have been able to find through those means. I will say I have been unable to find any kind of Fibre festival based events in the territories, so like Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut. I think maybe that is because there aren't any there. I did see in the Facebook group there was a kind of suggestion that there weren't events happening in those areas. But if you do know any, please let me know, because I'd love to add them to that blog post. And similarly, if you know of any events in the provinces that I have not found and not listed, share them with me as well, because I'd love to have that list as like comprehensive as possible. But yeah, if you're interested to see if there's an event happening near you this year, please go and check out my website and see that blog post. I'll put a link in the description below. And while you're there, you can check out all the other blog posts I have related to scrap yarn projects and pattern suggestions, travel tips, local yarn stores I've visited around the world, and that's also a place that you can access and buy my patterns. So yeah, please check that out and subscribe to my newsletter while you're there so you get all the updates of everything Wander and Create with Emma outside of this YouTube channel. Thank you for watching this week's vlog episode, and I will see you next time. Happy knitting and crocheting, or whatever you're working on this next week or so, and I'll check in with you again soon.